Distinguished.
Good morning, BT.
Good morning. Okay. So, in the build-up to this verse, we, and this is the build-up to Krishna appearing. And in it, there is, I mentioned there are many sub-themes. So the sub-theme that maybe is most relevant to us is, what does it mean to be Krishna conscious? And we'll look at it from two angles. One is, of course, the name of the chapter. The demigods are offering prayers before Lord Krishna appears. But we also have another angle for Krishna consciousness, Kamsa. Now, Kamsa, who was envious and demoniac and nasty. In other words, he was like current elected officials. We find all over the world people like him nowadays, envious, nasty, egotistical. They think they're the center of everything. And we find many people in the world like that. And for example, everybody in Ukraine now is extremely Putin consciousness, because they're thinking of Putin all day. And it's like that. So without commenting on the current political mess, we can certainly say that everybody in Ukraine is thinking of Putin all day. They're not thinking of him in a favorable way, but they're thinking of him. So similarly, Kamsa is extremely Krishna conscious. He may be more Krishna conscious than all of us combined. So here's a question for you. Think about this. Have you ever been in this position where you're thinking of Krishna unfavorably? Krishna, how can you do it? Krishna, how can you let someone die? Krishna, how can you let such terrible things happen? Krishna, why do bad things happen to good people? Of course, hardly anybody ever asks the opposite side. We always say, oh, Krishna, how can you let such a bad thing happen to such a good person? But also, why do you let such good things happen to bad people? So somebody share with me your experience of being Krishna conscious in such a negative way. Anybody like to be vulnerable enough to share that experience? Well, now that we have many takers for this. One. Yes, go for me.
So about a year ago, I had a gentleman that I was involved with. I have 3 children and he had a son, so I was raising a daughter. I have 3 children and he has a daughter. I was raising his daughter with me, and he was off working, so I had his daughter most of the time, and he decided he no longer wanted to have the children and myself all together, so he took his daughter. And I sat there and I have this beautiful picture of Krishna Radha. I just lied in my bed for a couple months and went, why are we here? What am I supposed to get out of this? So it's maybe not you've done something wrong or I've done something wrong, but it's this longing of like, how did we end up here? How did we get here? So this was unfavorable to me. It's not a cheery, happy, yay, we have our family together type thing. So this is, for me, a thing that left me aching.
Well, first, my heart goes out for you for such a difficult experience. That is extremely painful. Yet, you responded very Krishna consciously by thinking of Krishna. Krishna, how could you do this? That is Krishna conscious. And every single one of us is going to have ups and downs in our life. I mean, Kali Yuga is a particularly bumpy road. Right now, one of my mentors described that the next 2 weeks, he said, astrologically, it's a very, very rough time. Now, you don't need to look at the stars to know that. That's pretty obvious. It's a rough time out there. It's a rocky road. And sometimes going down that rough road, we may think of Krishna in terms that are not the most favorable. And has anyone here, now this is a hard question, and you can even turn off your camera when you answer it if you like. Anyone here really been angry at Krishna? I mean, really angry? Now, some of you have, but you may not want to say it on a recorded Zoom channel. I get that. Really angry. Now, in my counseling work with devotees or mentoring, it's not unusual for me to come across such a circumstance. And the first thing I say to people when that happens is, well, I congratulate them on being very Krishna conscious. They're thinking of Krishna. And Kamsa was extremely Krishna conscious. He thought of Krishna 24/7. How many of you can claim that? Happen to be unfavorable rather than favorable, but he's thinking of Krishna. So that is a kind of Krishna consciousness that does take us closer to Krishna, a lot closer to Krishna. It's just not the best way in some, but it is a way. So when devotees come to me, I am really angry at Krishna. So, well, hell of a lot better, as we say, excuse that expression for this, than the atheists, because they're thinking in that way. So that's one side of this chapter. The other side of the chapter is quite interesting. It's the demigods. Now, they're not so envious, but they're also in a lot of anxiety. The whole story of the Mahabharata is basically, for those of you who have seen Star Wars, and I don't think anybody has not seen Star Wars, but and I'm not going to take a poll of who went and saw Star Wars or not, but because I'll embarrass those who did, and I'll embarrass those who didn't. Those who didn't for being culturally irrelevant, and those who did for wasting their time in frivolous activities. So instead of embarrassing all of you, we'll just assume most people are very familiar with Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars began in my generation and continues to current generations. So the Mahabharata is very much like Star Wars. What happened in that there was an invasion of the earth, and various people unfavorable to Krishna, demons, and they had lost a war. The demons had lost a war with the demigods. That's all in the Bhagavatam. It was quite a major war. And then what did they do? They regrouped and said, we're going to take over this planet. They thought it was a good place for various reasons. So they have the ability to take birth in various families. So they took birth in various families, sometimes in animal forms, sometimes in human forms, sometimes even as the son of pious kings, like Jarasandhar. And so the demigods started realizing what's going on. They started appearing on earth. So you have this secret war going on in which each side is has spies and trying to see what the other side is doing and setting up their camps and setting up their territories to invade, and what are they going to do, and planning on basically taking it over for each of their purposes. So the Mahabharata is just like a Star Wars interplanetary war that became focused on Earth. Quite a good story. And so in that, we have Kamsa as part of that mix. And the demigods realize they're in trouble. And so what do the demigods do? So the demigods start offering prayers. And the prayers are very interesting because many of you may wonder, well, I wonder, what is the best way to pray? Now, according to Chanakya Pandit and according to the Judeo-Christian tradition, there are three things required to do to be pious and to raise our consciousness. One, study scripture. Two, you do good deeds. You act in goodness. And three, you pray. In our case, that's often through japa. So prayer is a very important part of our religious experience. It makes us dependent on the Supreme. It helps us develop our relationship. But often it comes up, how do we pray? Now, I'll give you an interesting example that taught me a lot. When Prabhupada was very, very ill, we had a dilemma. And devotees wanted to pray for Prabhupada to live, to stay with us. But some devotees felt if we pray for Prabhupada to stay, then we're making demands on Krishna instead of serving Krishna. So what do we do? But we want Prabhupada here, and Krishna's our best friend. We have to depend on Krishna. Yet, should we be demanding from Krishna? What do we do? So those who don't know what we then approached Prabhupada and asked him what to do in this spiritual dilemma. Now, those who don't know, who were not part of that or haven't read that, can you guess what prayer would we offer? If you know the correct answer, don't raise your hand. But if you're newer and haven't read the pastimes, then what prayer would you say? Let's say your close friend, your spouse, your child, your parent, somebody very close to you is dying. And what prayer might you offer? You don't want God to be your order carrier and God to tell you, God, do this, do that. But at the same time, you have to approach God. We were all bewildered by that. So then we offered, Prabhupada approached Prabhupada and said, what prayer is proper? Yes, in the interfaith, I see. What is the prayer?
Okay. Well, I would say, Krishna, I would really like you to be able to keep him around. However, it's up to you. I'll go by whatever you wish and whatever is your will. That's what I would say.
Very good. Very nice answer. Does somebody else have another answer? Now, many may know what Prabhupada said. So, what Prabhupada said, he gave us his prayer very much like you just said. He said, Krishna, we pray, if you so desire, please keep Prabhupada with us. I can tell you personally how satisfying that prayer was, because it was very bewildering. We don't want to tell Krishna what to do. Oh, Krishna, you can't take Prabhupada away. At the same time, we couldn't bear to think Prabhupada might go. And so Krishna gave us a prayer that did two things at the same time. Or Prabhupada gave us a prayer, did two things. One, it made us closer to Krishna. Two, it made us closer to Prabhupada, because we were offering our love to Prabhupada that we just can't bear to be without you. And at the same time, we're offering our love to Krishna. Krishna, do whatever you want. So Krishna, if you so desire, we're expressing our inner heart. Please let Prabhupada stay with us. But if you take Prabhupada, we understand that that's also your desire, is what, in essence, the prayer was saying. That prayer was so relieving. So to know how to pray is something that we don't, I feel, give enough instruction. Because there's a danger of praying. If we pray that God be our water carrier. When I was first in India, I went to India. I'll tell you this adventure. I went to India in the Peace Corps as a science teacher. Now, my purpose of going to India was to delve deeper into the Bhagavad Gita. And I was mystified by it, amazed by it. And I love the Hare Krishna mantra. I'd heard devotees chanting in Greenwich Village, but I didn't know if it was bona fide or made up. There were so many weird gurus coming to America in the 60s. I mean, when I say weird, I really mean weird. I mean, this is, Bellevue Hospital weird. I mean, we had one who had 70 Rolls Royces, and he said, unrestricted sex is the way to God. We had another one, little fat boy came, and he spoke the Gita quite well. I heard him speak one time when he presented the Gita, he presented the Gita, and he presented the Gita in such a clear way. You're not this body. He understood it well. He knew it well. Very convincing. One should surrender to Krishna. I mean, it was a really good talk. Then at the end, he says, by the way, I'm Krishna. And I actually have a friend who became a devotee who grew up in the same village as this little boy. It was 14 when he came. And they said it was a carnival family. All of you know carnies. They kind of, there's P.T. Barnum's. Anybody know P.T. Barnum, the most famous carnival circus showkeeper in America? He had a famous slogan. Anybody know what it is? Famous slogan.
Sucker born every minute.
Yes, Henry, a sucker born every minute. In other words, there's always enough people out there to fool them and take their money. That was P.T. Barnum's slogan. So this guy came from a family like that. My friend who knew them very well told me the story much later on. So I had heard him speak, and then you had other weird groups. So it's so hard to tell who's who. So I said, the only way to do is go to India. So I went to India, and I started going to the Hindu temples, sometimes a Muslim mosque, sometimes even a Christian church as I travel around. And I'd ask people one question: why are you here praying? What are you doing? And the answer I got was the Amazon answer. Now, what do I mean by the Amazon answer? Every one of you knows Amazon very well. If you use it or not, you all know it. Here's the Amazon answer. Amazon works this way. I give them my credit card, give them something, and the next day a package gets delivered to me. So this was the world of Amazon. Every time I asked people, what are you doing? What's your connection with God? I wanted something deep, something spiritual, something meaningful. And I'd always get the same answer. I'll give you an example. Why are you here? Well, I'm giving some money to the temple, and tomorrow I want to get a big dowry. I'm giving some money to the temple. I want it to rain. I'm offering my prayers, and I want something. Same thing like Amazon. You give them something, you get something back. They were doing business with God. And I knew that wasn't spiritually very deep. In fact, it was quite shallow. It was a very, very frustrating experience for me. Go all the way to India, basically living, camping out, learning what the real meaning of Delhi belly is, and all these things that happened in those days. And that was the best I can get. Fortunately, I got to meet Prabhupada and the devotees, and I got answers that made sense to me, that were deeper. So when I went to India, one of my questions is how to pray. And the answer I got from the common people wasn't very satisfying. So how to pray is something that we can learn. I know our beloved Radhanath Swami often speaks on this and gives a lot of insight into how to pray. So in this chapter, we can learn an example from the demigods. How do they pray? This is not the only way to pray. It is simply one of many ways, but it's very useful. So they begin their prayers. Let's turn to the prayers. they begin their prayers by offering appreciation. So one way that prayer helps is by saying what our relationship is with God. And I was brought up in the Jewish tradition, and the one part that I liked, many things were somewhat troublesome, being a chosen people, being better than others, all this stuff. I just it was, as we say, a turnoff. I mean, if I was chosen, my God, you could have done a better job choosing somebody else. So I understood that right away. But the one thing I like is how the prayers work, because what the prayers did is the prayers began with appreciating what God has given us. There's one of my favorite songs in the Jewish tradition is a song called Dayenu. And Dayenu is sung this time of year at the Passover time, which is the Christian Last Supper, same holiday, same prayer. And what the prayer says, it goes like this: God, you did this for us. You rescued us from Egypt. That would have been enough. But then you did this. That would have been enough. And then you did that. All of any of these things would have been enough. But then you did more. I mean, we don't deserve it, but you did it anyway. It's a prayer of gratitude. So some prayers are a prayer of gratitude. Thank you, just being grateful. In several of the Judeo-Christian traditions, really pious people begin their day every day before they get out of bed. What do? They first thing they pray is, God, I am alive today. I come back from my deep sleep, and you've blessed me with another day. They begin the day with extreme gratitude. And in our tradition, how do we begin the day? We often begin, most of us, by offering prayers to the spiritual master. Say, oh, Prabhupada, you're here with us. I have another day to serve you. So one aspect of prayer is gratitude. And the next aspect of prayer is appreciation. Because I'll give you an example of some of the prayers. The demigods prayed, oh Lord, you never deviate from your vow, which is always perfect, being present in all phases of the cosmic manifestation. You are the supreme truth. Unless one is completely truthful, one cannot achieve your favor. So many prayers praise the qualities of the Supreme, because when we praise the quality of Supreme, we realize one thing, immediately realize. When we praise the quality of the Supreme, what do we immediately realize? That's very, very important for our own spiritual upbringing. Can somebody help me with this? We go, God, when we say these prayers, I'll say one more here. The efficient cause of this material world, manifested with as many varieties as the original tree, is you, O Lord. You are the maintainer of this world after annihilation. You are the one in whom everything is conserved. So when we say prayers like this, what do we get out of that? Can somebody help me? Otherwise, if you can't help me, I may not be able to pray anymore today. Then look what will happen to me. So somebody has to help me. Yes, I can't pronounce your name. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that by such sincere prayers, we are brought back to our position of seeing ourselves lower than God. And it's fine to say lower than God, but I feel like sometimes we really can fall into this mentality of controllers. So it's, I feel like it provides humility and this sense that, yes, I am small and oh Lord, you are magnanimous. And also, I feel like it brings me to recognizing that I am also particle of that quality in a very minute way.
You said that better than I could. You said that so well. How do you say your name?
Angelica,
Angelica. Okay. Where are you from?
I was born and raised in Poland.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Well, welcome. My grandparents were from Poland. So welcome here. So Radhika.
The other thing that I thought of is that when we offer such prayers and we describe the qualities of Krishna, sometimes we may, in these prayers, God is addressed as, the supreme benefactor or everyone's well-wisher. So in that sense, no matter what we're feeling, at least in my case, it's a reminder that this person cares about me so much. And I'm praying to somebody who is my best friend and is my well-wisher in a way that is beyond my imagination. And so it just brings that to reality, and it brings it to the forefront.
Very good. So it makes us a little humbler. Raj Vihari, would you like to add something to this?
No, it's all, those last two comments were perfect.
I thought they were perfect. It gives us a sense of humility, gives us a sense of our relationship. And we do this in ordinary affairs. If all of a sudden the president of our country would be visiting, we would typically say, "Oh, President, we appreciate you so much." Unless it was our former president, I'd have a little trouble with that, but that's a different matter. You are such a wonderful person. You have done this. It's just natural. We offer appreciation, because when we offer appreciation and gratitude, it gets rid of the one quality that's the most adverse quality for us raising our consciousness. Now, Krishna says to Arjuna in the Gita that because you are missing this quality, therefore I can give you these secrets. This is such a significant point that Krishna more than once points out to Arjuna, because you're lacking this quality, I can explain these inner deep secrets to you. Otherwise, I couldn't tell it to you. What is that one quality that Krishna is pointing out to Arjuna?
Envy.
Envy. Thank you, Shikshastika. That is it. Because if we are envious of someone, if we're envious of God, then the one quality that dampens everything. Now, if any of us claim we are completely above envy, this is what we call in our jargon Maya, meaning we're an illusion. We're missing the point. All of us were in this world because we had a little envy to begin with. So if we have a little envy, what is the way of curing envy? Because envy, by getting rid of envy, it opens up the inner secrets of the universe. Everything we want to know is available. Krishna actually revealed to Arjuna in his universal form all the cosmological secrets of the universe. I'm the director of the Bhaktivedanta Institute, and we're trying to figure out, decipher the fifth canto, understand the inner secrets of the universe. And this research will take 1,000 years, but we're making progress each day as we go along. But the only way that those of us working on this make progress, because we're actually concerned about our own spiritual life, because we know if we don't cleanse our hearts, get rid of envy, these secrets won't be revealed. I mean, Krishna revealed to Arjuna how the whole universe works. Krishna revealed to his mother Yasoda. Krishna opened his mouth, he ate some dirt, and his mother went to look and see, and inside she saw the whole universe, all the secrets. So if we want to get the secrets of how the universe works, of what life is about, the one quality we need to move on from is envy. So how do we get rid of envy? Let's get some ideas. Somebody help me with this.
I just read a verse about that
Thank you.
from the Srimad Bhagavatam. It goes, instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him. It's from
Sweet.
4:8:34.
I didn't remember that verse. Thank you for bringing that one up. Say it one more time.
Instead of being envious of a more qualified man, one should be jolly to receive him.
Appreciate somebody who's more qualified. I love that one. Wow. Thanks. Any other insights in how to avoid envy? I'll give a specific case. Let's take Adi. Now, Adi can get up early every day, chant very sincerely, and then cook meals for a bunch of people. And he does it with total regularity, total sadhana bhakti down to perfection. There's very few people who can do what Adi does. So let's say I'm feeling envious of Adi. Boy, who the hell does he think he is? He thinks he's better than everyone because he gets up a little earlier and he feeds all these bums at Tompkins Square Park and he does it. Who the hell does he think he is? What is he trying to do? Show off? Let's say I'm feeling that way about Adi. And I'm sure we all feel that way about him. So let's say I'm feeling that way about Adi. And I recognize that. I look in the mirror and I see that. What do I do about that? Adi, what do I do about that?
You're welcome to come and do it with me.
I knew that answer was coming.
There's plenty of devotional service to go around. There's no shortage, you know.
Yeah, do service.
There's nothing I have that we're not willing to share.
Okay.
Or even I'll go take a nap and you can do it. You can pay for it. You can cook. You can go out there and Nicole.
You've given a hint at the answer. Radhika.
Hare Krishna. I think two things. One, we had in a previous Bhagavatam class, someone was saying that when these things come up in our hearts, these anarthas such as envy, like recognize the message that comes with that. So in this case, like the previous speaker was describing, that envy sometimes brings the message that we recognize this missing potential within us. So what is it specifically we're envious of? So maybe it's really the appreciation for the fact that Adipurusha Prabhu gets up early. So how can we regulate our lives to get up early? And then when we reach that potential, we'll feel less envious. And then the other thing is, you know, to serve him. So we may not be able to be in New York with him, like he said, but just be an instrument in his service. And in that way, you're part of the mission and it removes envy. And so it could be like giving donations or going once a week, something like that.
Yeah. By the way, this example was a paid advertisement by Adi.
I thought so.
Yeah. I just want to be clear on that. Okay. Let me see. Yes, Prabhu at Interfaith.
I have a verse here from 7th canto. By making plans with determination, one should give up lusty desires for sense gratification. Similarly, by giving up envy, one should conquer anger. By discussing the disadvantages of accumulating wealth, one should give up greed. By discussing truth, one should give up fear. By discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation and illusion. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles on the path of mystic yoga. And by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer envy.
Very good. So I'll summarize some of what has been said. By stopping sense gratification, certainly control of the senses, because the senses can drive us to envy. Somebody said, can you please repeat that last verse? So that's in the chat. Say it again. I'd like to hear it myself.
Okay, it's two verses. So the last one is
and give the reference verse number.
7th canto, 15th chapter, and the first one was 22, and the second one is 23. By discussing spiritual knowledge, one can conquer lamentation, and illusion. By serving a great devotee, one can become prideless. By keeping silent, one can avoid obstacles on the path of mystic yoga. And simply by stopping sense gratification, one can conquer himsa, envy.
Okay, so that's one. Another way to deal with envy is by serving, and that point was brought up. If I find that I'm envious of Adi, the best thing I can do is start helping him serve prasadam, and by service we get rid of envy. What do we call ourselves? We're a movement which everyone has the same last name. We only have two last names, Devi Dasi and Das. It's like if you go to India, 99% of the Sikhs all have the last name Singh. In fact, one time I was on a bus and the bus driver had a turban and a beard and a dagger and a bracelet. This is the outfit of all the Sikhs. And I went up to the driver and I said, Mr. Singh, what time do we arrive in Jaipur? And he turns to me and goes, how did you know my name? Which I thought was pretty funny. Anyway, that really happened. So we all have the name of Das and Dasi. Why? It means servant, because we're trying to identify it. We address each other as Prabhu. And sometimes we forget what it means, but all of these cultural accoutrements, names and language, respects and obeisances, all of this is simply for us to cure ourselves of our envy. And one of the ways of curing ourselves of our envy is by offering appreciation. So the demigods are so big, so by offering our appreciations, and the demigods here are showing us how to do it, how to offer appreciation by offering appreciation to the Supreme Lord. And that's how they deal to keep their hearts pure. So the more we appreciate each other, the more we show gratitude, the less envy we have, the less envy we have, more the secrets of the universe, the whole universe, become manifest to us, as it did to Arjuna in the Gita. So this is extremely powerful, this idea of prayer. Satchidananda Swami, in his japa retreats, which I've been to several, he and Borijan Prabhu emphasize, or chanting japa, how to do it in a prayerful mood. We emphasize the first Hare Krishna, just to wake up our mind. And then while we're chanting, we're also in a prayerful mood. Krishna, please help me connect with you. I mean, one of the songs that sometimes drifts through my head when I'm in a good japa mood. We've all been in good japa moods where it gets very deep. And regretfully, every one of us has been in a bad japa mood where, oh my God, when can I get this over with? So it happens. So the way to shift moods, one thing I do is I pause for a minute and think of George Harrison's My Sweet Lord, which is just a prayer. I really want to know you. Oh Lord, when will I know you? And I just let that go through my mind for a minute. And then my japa clicks back in because it puts me in that prayerful mood. So the message in this chapter is two things: how important it is to be in a prayerful mood and how to get there. So it is 7:47. So we are going to stop here for questions, comments, criticisms, or whatever, and especially reflections on what happened. So we'll begin with Adi.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, glorious class, wonderful, very, grounded and useful talk glorifying Krishna. We were reflecting on your initial topic of being angry at Krishna and asking who is angry at Krishna. The people in the Ukraine are thinking, my problem is coming from the Russians, and the Russians are thinking, my problem is coming from the Ukrainians. But the reality of the situation is a certain amount of suffering is coming to each of us based on, Krishna says, you are the cause of your pleasure and pain. Based on, I'm the cause of my pleasure and pain. What I've done, Tatenu Kampam Shushimikshmaga, it's due to my past misdeeds. And actually, Krishna is mitigating what I really deserve to get in response to my misbehavior. So it's kind of interesting to remember that. People are saying, we want to help. We want to help the people in Ukraine. We're praying for them. It reminds me of the appearance of Jesus. People were thinking, these Romans are oppressing and taxing us and everything, and we hope the Messiah will come and he will create a political situation or a military situation, and we'll throw off the yoke of this, oppressive regime. But actually, Jesus said, no, I'm not bringing a financial, a political, or a military solution. It's a change in consciousness. I'm not changing the circumstances. I'm saying let us change ourselves to serve Krishna with the time and facility we have and be satisfied in that. And the Hasidic Jewish people say, who is a wealthy man,
Go on.
Who is a wealthy man? One who is satisfied with whatever God sends.
Yes.
Who is a powerful man? One who can control his senses. So this is in our hands. It's not about changing anybody else. It's not about, but we do have some endeavor to give people refuge. 500,000 people have fled from Ukraine, including devotees, and some of them are being called to stay there and fight, but and by preaching. But any manager in ISKCON who's a little bit serious is continually praying, endeavoring, and trying to offer refuge to all the people that are being ravaged, not by the Russian military, but by all the conditions and material. We're trying to provide facility for people to engage in devotional service. They can come and live with us. They can go to the farms and help with the cow protection. They can come to the cities and help with the book distribution. We're endeavoring right now to expand the guest program so that devotees have a means of livelihood that's connected to preaching. Looking at it.
Thank you very much. Raj, would you like to add anything or reflect on any comments?
No, I'm very happy listening to others.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add, subtract? Yes, Prabhu, in interfaith. What's your name?
Nityananda Chandradas.
Jai Nityananda Chandra.
I was thinking about when the question was thinking of Krishna negatively, and I was thinking about situations that may lead up to that, and also relation to this point of telling Krishna what to do. And so there's this pastime in Chaitanya Mangala where Mother Sachi, she sees Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda getting an argument with Krishna and Balaram, and Lord Chaitanya is saying, my Chaitanya, he will beat up your Krishna. And Balaram's like, my Krishna, well, he's the one that's the boss, and you don't want to mess with me because he'll get you. And so sometimes as devotees, we may improperly have this mentality like, you don't want to mess with me because I have my own personal gangster who's going to get you. And then the other person is also a devotee, and he's thinking, no, if you mess with me, your life's going to be ruined because I got my own personal gangster. And then if it doesn't work out, then we get mad at Krishna. Well, Krishna, why didn't you make things go in my way, in my favor?
Exactly. Well said. Brajabihari Prabhu.
Yeah, actually, I do have a thought. It's so important for us to, philosophically understand that by becoming devotees, it's not going to be, bed of roses. I'm counseling this one devotee right now, who's he's in the financial business and he's losing money right now. And he's so angry at Krishna. And why is Krishna doing this? I'm trying to make money for him. And he's just really, 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 really worked up. And so if we read the 10th chapter of the Nectar of Devotion, and Prabhupada says that, we should not expect our karma to just go away just because we've taken up Krishna consciousness, that everyone has, it's a gradual, the fan, Prabhupada talks about, we unplug the fan of our karma when we take up Krishna consciousness. It still goes around for some time. So it's very important to understand that when things go bad, it's not, seemingly bad. It's not that Krishna's trying to, clobber us or something. And what's often happens is, we have 20/20 hindsight. We see 5 days, 5 years down the road, whatever, that was Krishna's mercy. But another way to look at it is that, old Brahmatirtha, are you old enough to remember Superman?
He was my childhood hero, old enough to remember him. My father put a harness on me and set up a rope so I could fly.
So do you remember when he takes the coal and crushes it, and then a few, 30 seconds later, it becomes a diamond?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're like the coal, and, this is another way to look at it. This is different than the last way I just spoke about. And Krishna's like the Superman, and in order to make a diamond, we have to go through challenges, but we also have to see through the eyes of Scripture that it's, those challenges, or they may be coming from Krishna to purify us. They also may be coming just because we acted like a jerk in so many different lifetimes. I mean, except you, BT, you didn't act like a jerk. I was good last. You just act like a jerk now.
It's this lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I get that one. Thanks. That helps a lot. We're going to end a little early. Lord Chaitanya said, essential truth spoken concisely is true eloquence. Or the other great Vaishnav said, brevity is a soul of wit. Oh, that was Shakespeare. Anyway, but he had a lot of good sayings. So with that, we're going to end a little early because I have this very critical meeting to attend in a few minutes. So see, I surprised you all. Whoever thought class could end early. So with that, we'll go on. Thanks. It's a real privilege always to be at the Bhakti Center around the corner from where it all began. And there's so many interesting events going on at the Bhakti Center, a town hall meeting coming in 2 weeks. So I urge you all to look at your newsletter and see the events and participate as you like. And I say to you all, have a good day, thinking of Krishna, hopefully favorably, but if that doesn't work, the other way is okay too.
Thank you, Brahmatirtha Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Prabhu.
Hare
Everyone,
Krishna.
Nityananda Chandra, Angel. Angel, what's that Prabhu's? Can you point camera at that Prabhu? He looks like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What's your name, Prabhu? Oh, we lost them.
Rakshana Krishna Das.
Rakshana Krishna Das. Rakshana Krishna Das. Can you come up closer and tell us a little bit about yourself? We have 3 more minutes. Tell us how you ended up on the floor at the Bhakti Center.
Actually, I'm from ISKCON Chowpatty. I'm a Brahmachari there since last 7 years. And right now, because of my family, I have come here for 1 year in Bhakti Center.
So you're gonna be serving in the Bhakti Center for 1 year?
He's in the love department.
In the love department. Cool. Nice, wonderful. And Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Like, are you moving or something? Are you gonna be involved?
Yeah,
with the Bhakti Center?
Muralidhar will have me.
Cool. Yeah, I heard. That's wonderful. What about your family? Are you bringing them over?
Yeah.
That is so cool. That is so nice. Welcome. Welcome, Prabhu. We'll talk. We'll talk. That is so exciting.
Thank you.
Okay. So we got, who do we got? We got Henry Prabhu. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Henry Prabhu, you hosted Mother Yamuna, right? Are you the Henry Prabhu?
Yes, that's correct. I did. Yeah.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What that did to you?
Well, I'm here now. That's what it did to me. But, I mean, we had wonderful morning programs. She had her beautiful deities there, Radhabana Bihari and a beautiful Prabhupada Murti. And we had morning programs. Dina Tarne was there also. So, and I had this big old family home in downtown Washington. And so we made a temple room there, and beautiful morning programs. We'd all read the Bhagavatam together. She wanted us each to have a copy of the Bhagavatam. So we'd go through and we'd each read part of it. And it always was a discussion. She never wanted it as a class. So she'd really bring me out. And every morning she made me sing the Nishringa prayers, which is really wonderful because now I know them so well. And
Nice. Nice, Henry Prabhu. Yes, so we don't know who's in this class. Look at Henry Prabhu. He's so humble, but he's an exalted soul. I heard from Raghunath Prabhu a lot of good things about you, Henry Prabhu. Thank you so much for being part of this small Sangha here.
Thank you. It's a wonderful thing. I'm so happy to be here in the morning. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay, and Hemangi, come up here. What are you doing?
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I was busy packing food for my kids, lunch for my kids and husband.
Nice, wonderful. Servant. So you're not envious of your kids and your husband by serving them?
Not at all.
Not at all. Nice. Sometimes, I have to share. Sometimes I get envious of animals. They have no responsibility other than just eating, sleeping, laying around. And that's so sad. And then what helps me in dealing with the envy issues is that mantra that I put in the chat box. Mantra 1, Ishapanishad. If you're concerned about your quota, it's already there for you, set aside by Krishna himself. Everything belongs to Krishna. Your little quota is there. Don't worry. Don't be envious. Right? I hope this is helpful. Okay, I think it's 8 o'clock. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Hi.
Devotees who are keeping their cameras on, Ki Jai. Everybody else, Ki Jai. Devotees tuning in steadily, Ki Jai. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
7:15:23. By serving a great devotee, one can become priceless. Priceless. Priceless is good. Good. We're taking it. Thank you. Hare Krishna.